Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With wine country behind us and the Monster Mile in the forefront, Brian and I are in to talk all things Dover, as well as recap the week that was at Sonoma, as Brian and I are both on site all weekend, which was an amazing time. We'll talk the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, all of that good stuff. But Brian, Twining, how does it feel to be back home, back in your office, back in a normal routine? Feels pretty good, right?
Yeah, there's nothing like home base when you have multiple monitors accessible, and yeah, it's just easier to shop lines, look at numbers, something that I probably won't be doing much of this week as we go back and we review Sonoma and just what's been the recent happenings in the space. But yeah, Sonoma was a fantastic time, as you said. There's a lot going on, some impressive racing up front, and we got to see history being made again. I mean, Shane Van Gisbergen, what else is there to say about this guy on road courses?
Yeah. So obviously we'll look at the DraftKings results. We'll look at the betting card. We'll talk everything, but I want to talk a little bit about just kind of our experience first. And highly recommend Sonoma if you can make a trip out of it. It can be a little wild weather-wise. You could get 104, you could get 78, you could get something in between. We got decent weather.
Well, I mean, to your point, just real quick, it was low 70s, barely 70 in the mornings when we were getting to the track, and then it was close to 90 by the time the race was going green. So
yeah, it was certainly a wild range of outcomes, but both Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson did press conferences from Sonoma. Jimmy Johnson getting inducted to the Wall of Fame. Dale Jr. talking about their partnership with Roto-Rooter and kind of the game plan and the new deal they signed for going forward. The biggest thing listening to both of them talk is the clear passion that they both still have for the sport.
Yeah.
They both are so excited talking about not only current day, but history, their first time. Jimmy was talking about his only win there, what happened, working everyone through it. I thought it was a really cool experience. It's just Dale Jr. being in NASCAR, being a part of broadcast, being a part of a race team, being a part of kind of having his hands in a lot of different pieces, driving at one point. You could clearly tell that he has a passion and excitement and wants to keep the sport moving forward. So it's nice that he's so involved everywhere.
Yeah, and just to kind of elaborate on moving forward, one of the things he mentioned was how, despite what it looks like from the outside with sponsorship and how cars are no longer basically being sponsored by one company throughout an entire season, he's actually very excited about the future of sponsorship in the sport, especially in Xfinity and the Cup Series. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is the fact that we have guys like Dale and Jimmy, both legends of their time for one reason or another, that are still passionate about the sport, but also the growth of the sport, along with having current drivers in Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, fully invested in their own race teams for the future of the sport. So not only are we having guys that come from, the historical standpoint of us racing 20 years ago and just the way that things were then, we also have guys that are racing in this current era that can help take that into the next era of the sport. So I think the sport's in a really good place moving forward, despite what some people may say or all the, court stuff that's going on. I think it's definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And he was talking about because, we think, FedEx is out and all these guys are losing their sponsorship and they're having to scrape.
Yep.
But he seems optimistic. He's, and obviously he was mentioning too, not only is a company like Roto-Rooter sponsoring NASCAR and kind of the top of the funnel stuff, but they're getting into the Legends cars and stuff, which is huge for the growth of the sport long term. Which is something that he said, a lot of these companies would come in, kind of be interested in just the top, kind of scrape the top and then be done. But some of these companies are really getting involved. So excuse me, it's a little late out here on the West Coast. I almost chugged a Celsius, but I was like, I gotta go to bed. Any other big takeaways from Sonoma, our experience, anything that stood out from our couple days there?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the race from one of two perspectives. You can either say it was boring as hell because Shane Van Gisbergen once again just stomped everybody and clearly, had the race been clean, probably wins by 7-8 seconds minimum. Or you can look at it from the perspective of, oh, Shane Van Gisbergen is one of the best, if not the best, road course racers we've had or we've seen in the Cup Series. This is impressive. And still also realize the racing behind him, like beyond second place, because it felt like the second place car was able to kind of separate from third and beyond. But
Yeah,
the
Chase.
racing behind,
Shouts to Chase Briscoe for
yes,
basically being being a clear tier. But yeah, no, to your point, there was clear racing behind them. There was
oh
all
yeah.
kinds of stuff and action, and
And
I
the
also thought it.
tire, I think the new tire, along with the track aging, which I'm glad I went off the rails here real quick, but the fact that the track surprised so many drivers and teams, I think is a great sign for future races in wine country.
We finally got tire wear. We've been
Yeah, exactly.
clamoring for it all season long. I also thought it was interesting in SVG's post race presser talking about, like, he clearly understands that he has a lot of work to do, but he's also like rational about his like evolution. Like, he doesn't think he's the best driver to ever suit up, and obviously he's amazing at road courses. He's got another thing. It looks like at points where he's not even really pushing as hard as he could, and he's
Yeah.
still maintaining or pulling away. But he's like, yeah, my goal at ovals is to be around the mid pack. Like, if I can be that, I'm really happy. And then once I get to there consistently, then I want to be improve from there. But I'm working on getting better there.
Yeah.
We're coming to every track the same way with the same expectations, but I understand where my level is. I understand where I need to get better, and I understand reality. And I thought that was really interesting to kind of have a good grasp on where he is. And I hope if you're interested in SVG as a championship favorite, obviously the CLV casino is chocked full if you got in early in the season before that first win, because like, he has a great path to the round of 8, then wins the Roval. Who knows what happens. He could be in the final 4. Do we think he can win at Phoenix? Probably not, but weird stuff happens, so maybe
Yep.
maybe something happens. So let's talk through some of our DraftKings as we kind of go through it. Christopher Buescher, it's going to be a broken record. Brian and I are so mad, and I was actually listening to Actions Detrimental today, and I think maybe the NASCAR gods put him where he needs to go after his kind of run in with Ryan Blaney and knocking him out of the race. And I'm not sure how. I don't know. Buescher was, you'll see on our betting card, Buescher was top 3, top 4.
Featured
Di-
prominently too.
didn't come in and get tires.
The
Stayed
top
out.
4 didn't come in and get tires, which,
Yeah.
mind you, anybody racing behind Shane Van Gisbergen, something that I was saying on Saturday night and even like Sunday morning, why is anybody on the same strategy as Shane? You are not going to beat him
Yeah.
doing the same thing. It's just impossible at this point on road courses.
Yep. And of course, we get 17 restarts at the end, and Buescher like slips the tires, but he's able to maintain. I'm like, okay. I was like, that was sketchy, but we're fine. Then we get another restart, and then the tires slip, and he falls back and falls back. Dude doesn't get settled in the pack until he's 17th after being 3rd.
Yeah.
So that basically was the buzzkill of the whole weekend for Brian and I from a betting perspective, but we can talk a little DK. So obviously SVG once again was the guy you needed. He was awesome. if you faded him in tournaments and you wanted to be unique, and I get it, but
I failed to mention when you asked me big takeaways about Sonoma. Flipping stage 2 and still winning the stage is just another check mark into the one of the reasons why this dude is in another universe on
yeah.
road courses.
And we talked about that being a reality, especially with the long stage 3, and he did exactly what we talked about Saturday night. So
Yeah.
props to him. He's incredible. Christopher Bell, solid, fine. I was betting all these outrights and no one had
I
a
mean, he
chance.
spun like
Mhm.
fairly quickly, fairly soon after you had hit him live too. So for him to recover and come home top
That was
5.
my favorite thing, which check out our friends over at Win the Race. The Discord was popping on race day, and
Yeah.
they're like, "What happened to Christopher Bell?" Like literally right after I bet him, and I was like, "I bet him. That's what happened." Um, so Christopher Buescher ends up going to the back, but then both Kyle Busch and Joey Logano pull top tens. So sure. And our leg, not quite the 19th we saw in Chicago, but move forward 6 spots, 5%. It's fine.
And she did exactly what I mean, if you got the newsletter or you didn't, just a quick little preview of it. Like, one of the reasons why I liked Leg from a DFS perspective yet again was the fact that she was going to be so much slower than everybody else, that she's not around anybody to be involved in anybody else's bullshit. She's just running her own race, allowing others to take themselves out. And it basically played out exactly to that storyline, in that she was able to gain positions because other guys were battling it out up front or wrecking cars, having pit road penalties and such. So yeah, not the greatest day from her, but I think 16 points for $4,500 and only 5% rostered allowed you to fit in so many more high-priced guys.
Yep. And to Brian's point, aoppodcast.substack.com, aoppodcast.substack.com, our completely free newsletter comes in your email inbox every race day. Highly recommend taking a look at that. You can go look at old versions of the newsletter, and then obviously sign up and get it emailed to you on race day. H.A. Allmendinger was one of, if not the most frustrating driver, from a guy who looked like he had legitimate speed on Saturday to looking like he had nothing on Sunday.
Yeah.
It was mind-boggling. This lineup was kind of just, I don't know, not great. Not great, Bob Custer. It was really a gross week to find value and find people that could actually contribute, because the people that you wanted to target were either starting really far forward or were really expensive, or just like it didn't make sense. So
Yeah.
speaking, not Dinger, Kyle Larson, the most disappointing driver on Sunday.
100%.
I think he was obviously overvalued in market, and like his outright price was literally never on our radar.
Yeah, the betting side of things for the 5 this last weekend was just confusing altogether, from the numbers that we saw and just the way he was being priced. Clearly based on last year's win. It didn't make any sense.
He was just like a non-factor all day. Like he wasn't even like, there was interesting racing in the mid pack. There was interesting racing in the back of the field, and he was just like, you didn't even notice he was out there.
At no point did you think Kyle Larson was even a threat for a top 5.
Yeah, I didn't think Kyle Larson was a threat to pass anybody, and all of a sudden he's wrecking at the end and he's going away. So like, it was very frustrating for him. We could talk a little betting card. So obviously I had the Dinger, I had the CLV, felt great, all for nothing. Buescher top 5, Buescher top 10. Should have cashed at least the top 10, probably should have cashed the top 5. Like I said, got punted, end up 17th and whatever. Ross losing to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was a non-factor all day. Manages a top 10 and gets in front of Ross, who was near the front, and it was obviously on a weird like weird pit cycle, but was still really good. And then Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman was. I never really felt like he had top 10. There was one point where
No.
kind of things worked out and he was there, and I was like, end the race
Yeah.
now, end the race now. Because Busher was like third and Bowman was 10th and Ross was there, and I'm just like, end it. It's fine. SVG is going to win
Yeah.
anyways. So obviously that sucked. So really, really frustrating. Like, did I expect to win every bet? No. But did I think at least the Busher top 10 and probably the top 5 were in play? Absolutely did. And as you can see from Brian's card, Busher top 5, Busher top 10 also, Bowman top 10 also.
I feel dirty cashing the Busch top 10
Yeah.
because he wasn't a top 10 car
No.
basically the entire race. And then from Busher's standpoint, I will openly say here that is the most frustrated I think I've ever been at a loss. And it like really made me take a step back to the point to where like this week is kind of a I need to clear my mind week. Because when you have a ticket on something that basically 85% of the race, I would say this looked like a sure thing.
I mean, with like 7 to go, he was third. Like, there was no reason he shouldn't have got top 10.
Yeah, I just don't know what else to. It's just
Like,
so
going up that hill,
frustrating.
something happened, and it's not like he lost a couple spots and then he went from 8th to 12th, right? He went from 3rd to 17th
Yeah.
and was just nothing the rest of the day. So
And
sometimes
mind
you
you,
win.
the broadcast very similar to what happened to AJ Allmendinger. I don't know if it was at Coda. I forget what race it was where he basically dropped like a sinker on a fishing line. The broadcast really made no mention of Busher falling outside of the top 5 and plummeting to the mid-teens, which was kind of a major storyline based on the fact that Busher is also battling for a playoff positioning on points.
You'd think. Yeah. And then so basically there's some weeks where we get lucky with bets, some weeks where things aren't really an actual chance to win and we don't win it. There's other weeks where we have it read right. We have the correct car. There's nothing wonky. There's no accident. There's no problems. He just got bumped, slid backwards, and was MIA. So that was incredibly frustrating. So as you can see, given back a few units since Chase won in Atlanta, and then Brian, you're just a real wild card. I feel like you're going to get hot as we go into the playoffs. Friendly reminder: we're almost to the playoffs. I think 6 races.
Yeah, 6 more races.
Get us to 1,500 subs. We'll do a $100 giveaway. So get us there if you've yet to subscribe. Especially for those of you who are here every week and are not subscribed. What are you doing? Fix that. Smash that like button. Do everything you can help us. Costs you nothing, helps us significantly. Yeah. So, any other big takeaways from Sonoma? Any thoughts? Anything from being at the track, from watching the race, from things that you are thinking about going forward? Are we going to be lining up once again to get kicked in the nuts when we go to the Glen? Are we going to bet all these other guys because we think the odds are good and then we should just be betting SVG at 175 or 125 or minus 110 or whatever the hell?
I was just going to say, I think so. 2 things. First, I just wanted to give a shout out to our buddy Rod Villagomez from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. We got to meet him in person finally after multiple years of communicating with him. So that was great. He and Cody do a good job on their show, breaking down Xfinity, trucks, Cup Series, DFS, all this other stuff. So make sure you go check them out. And then Shane Van Gisbergen, when we go to Watkins Glen, I think there's a legit possibility he opens at even money or even minus.
Yeah.
At this point, why would the books even risk
Yeah.
a longer number?
It was funny
on
too
him?
because we were sitting in the media center talking through bets and talking through stuff, and I was like, "Ooh, Christopher Bell and who did I bet? Bell and someone
And you had
Busher?
Byron, and you
Well,
had
I bet
Byron, like,
Byron, and then I bet Busher, and then I bet Bell. I bet all the Bs. But you're like, SVG's plus 110. You should just bet that. And I was like,
yeah,
that's stupid. Why
exactly.
would I want that? That makes no one. And so, of course,
And
he
this was during the race, mind you, when
yeah,
Shane was still over even, and I was
yeah.
just like, outside of a freaking asteroid hitting the racetrack, I just
I,
don't think anybody can even get close to him.
I just want to see Connor Zilish get in there, and I want to see,
So I think
obviously,
Connor is racing Watkins Glen.
I just, they were teammates on Saturday, so I wonder if that was a little bit of a factor. But I think Connor seems like the only guy that actually has something for him, where
Mind
he
you,
can.
I do think in the Xfinity race that there was probably some communication between the 9 team and the 88 that in that specific scenario, because Zilich is racing for a championship and Shane is not, they basically talked to them and said, listen, you can try to make a pass, but for the love of God, do not turn him or cost him, like,
Yeah, because he even bumped him and then like backed off because he didn't want to
yeah.
win it that way. And of course, who did I have in the outright card there at SV Jesus? All right, let's turn our attention towards Dover. Let us know down in the comments. Did you have fun at Sonoma? Are you happy that it's on the schedule? We did have some good conversations with drivers about the amount of road courses, and shocking to nobody, Bubba Wallace is fine with it. Some of the guys that don't love not road courses kind of want less. Some
I
of the
mean, Bubba
guys like,
did say he would prefer to have like
yeah,
3.
and Tyler Reddick, who was talking about how he's gotten significantly better at road courses, although this year has been kind of a non-factor, was like, I love having them, and honestly, if they went away or there was a lot fewer, I'd find a way to run more road courses somehow. So I thought that was all interesting and glean a few nuggets, having that kind of face-to-face interaction, which is
Yeah.
a very cool benefit of kind of actually getting to go to the races and talk to these guys. Obviously, we can't do it every week, but we try and make it to as many as possible. Plan on being in Vegas and probably Phoenix. So if you are going to be at those races, definitely holler. We'd love to say hello. All right, let's talk Dover. The books threw their hands up. They don't know what to do. They're not going to get bent over. So here we go. Kyle Larson, Dennis Hamlin, both 475. Byron Blaney 7-1. Chase Ross, Christopher Bell 12. Reddick Briscoe 18. Alex Bowman 20. By the way, Alex Bowman losing to Ty Dillon on the
Oh yeah, that's
final
right.
couple laps to not advance in the bracket challenge was just like
Rough scenes.
the cherry on top of the kick in the nuts we took all weekend.
Yep.
We had him at what, 30, 33,
Yeah, he
28,
was
like
longer than 30 in places.
the worst. The worst. Interesting week. There's names I like, but nothing from an outright perspective screaming my name. Obviously, Denny's really good here, but betting him at 475 before we see cars unload seems like a unnecessary gamble. Kyle Larson could be really good. Also, he's been on kind of a hiatus. Does he come back and win this week? Does he stay on his mini vacation? Who knows? Byron's been good here. Ross was somebody that I was tempted to get invested in, but like 12 or 14 is just way too short.
Yeah.
Is there anything in terms of outright prices like 20-1 or shorter that even like gauges your interest?
Well, I think a couple of guys. Obviously, I feel like the number is too short on this guy. That's going to be Chase Elliott. Just it every time we go to a concrete track, especially Dover, Elliott comes to mind as somebody that's going to excel here. He's looked good at times on ovals this year, and others he's just completely, been fine running inside the top 10, but not really a contender to win the race. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's somebody I have a hard time getting to prior to practice and qualifying. And then Blaney is the other one. I think Blaney has shown enough speed at ovals this year for me to be excited of playing him anything 8 or above, I think. However,
Yeah.
this is the first time we're coming to Dover with this new tire that we're running. It's the first time they've ever ran this tire at any track, and there was no tire test. So teams have no data on this. And what if we come out and this is Bristol from 2024 spring, and the tire just gets destroyed on race day, and it is nothing like what we saw in practice? Obviously, that's pretty far-fetched to think that that'll happen again, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility. So I do not want to get too heavily invested in the outright market right now without seeing who has a good handle, or at least some type of handle on this tire.
Brian Twining, can I interest you in Ryan Blaney at plus 850?
See, I do like that number.
Our friends over at Fanduel have Ryan Blaney and William Byron at 850.
William Byron can't win races. Not that Blaney can either. I mean, Blaney's got the one win, but Byron has not won outside of a super speedway in ages. Like, everybody likes to talk shit about Shane Van Gisbergen and only winning on road courses, but when you look at HMS, the only guy in that camp that's winning at anything other than super speedways is Kyle Larson, where Chase Elliott and William Byron's wins are both at super speedways. So if you want to talk about luck and being a like ham and cheese sandwich at a 5-star restaurant when you're looking at playoffs, how come these guys aren't mentioned in that? Obviously, that's going overboard, but
you're not wrong. Like,
yeah, like
nothing you said is incorrect.
Traditional ovals.
2 years ago, Byron was winning everything.
Exactly.
Last year, Wormy called him Jimmy Johnson, and he's basically been trash ever since.
This is how bad it's gotten with them. Like, we used to love William Byron, and I think last year it was like Christopher Bell transitioned to Bell, but the books hadn't adjusted yet to their speed, and Byron was competitive in places where they wasn't expected. Now he's priced amongst the favorites, but he can't win the damn races. So why am I going to bet him outright to win these things when he hasn't proven to be able to do it? When you can go further down the board, we haven't even gotten to this range yet, but like, I know other places in the Win the Race Discord, he was being chatted about a lot. And he's obviously right now on ovals, the first guy that comes to mind based on qualifying speed. But Chase Briscoe, when he's priced at like 20-1 now, knowing that he's probably going to qualify near or on the front row in a car, mind you, that has been incredible at Dover with Martin Truex Jr. behind the wheel. And for what it's worth, James Small has actually been pretty damn good strategy-wise this year.
Did we blame him a little too much, and maybe Martin Truex was the problem?
I think we were. I think we did.
What a world we're living in. Byron can't win, but give me a Chase Briscoe. And it's not wrong. That's the thing.
Because again, it's all about prices. Like,
Byron's led a bunch of laps. He's starting anywhere near the front row. So if you want to hit the CLV casino, I get it. But his finishes at Dover, 33rd this in 24, 4th, 22nd, 4th, 28th, 13th, 8th, 19th, 14th. He led 193 laps 2 years ago, was first and then second, but that was 23 when he was just awesome everywhere. 2 of the last 3 years, he's been 22nd or 33rd. He obviously had an accident last year that kind of ended his day, but I don't know. Blaney 850. It's just like, do we want to go? Okay, I know I'm not going to be able to get 850 when Byron puts it on the first 2 rows, but can't win. So what are we doing? Wasting our time. And then Blaney feels really good.
I also think at a track where there's a shit ton of laps being run and books having also adjusted to weighing practice much heavier than what we see in qualifying, makes a guy like Blaney, who is probably going out in the first group of qualifying, a lot more appealing this late in the season than it did early in the year when the sports books hadn't quite adjusted to the qualifying metric and the numbers and all that stuff. So yeah, for me, Blaney is the only guy in this range that I could go to. Larson's an automatic no at this. Just the way he's been racing, he should not be priced the same as Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Denny's interesting, but he's 5-1. It's hard for me to get there prior. I think I'd rather wait and see, and if I have to bet him at 450 or 4, I'm fine with that. Blaney's results at Dover: 7th, 3rd, 26th, 12th, 12th, 14th, 35th, 15th, 11th, 8th, 23rd, 32nd, 8th, 38th, 8th. Obviously, he's been much better throughout the race. Obviously, he's been, he led 47 laps last year. After stage 2, 8th, 3rd, 1st, the last 3 years. There's a bunch of top 5, top 10s. He's the only one that I'm even sort of compelled to pull the trigger on. And to your point, maybe we should be looking at the Chase Briscoes of it all, but I don't know. I'm tired of adding these longer shots, hoping they get that CLV and then don't actually have a chance of winning. AJ Allmendinger, I'm looking straight into your eyes. Downwards, by the way. Short King Spring is officially over.
That's
Kyle
hilarious.
Busch, Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, Carson Hocevar. I don't know. Nothing about this board says bet me.
Yeah, especially with the way that everybody's being priced. I mean, we've talked about this before, and I'm sorry if this is annoying or sounding like a broken record, but when the books are pricing 12 to 15 guys in that 20 to 25 and shorter range, it's just kind of off-putting in terms of wanting to play any of these numbers. I mean, Kyle Busch, look, he's had an amazing career and he's shown signs of the speed maybe returning, but how on God's green earth is he priced at 22-1? I know he's priced in the same range as other dudes that are probably as talent, like bringing the similar type of speed, but he should not be priced 22-1. Like,
if you want Kyle Busch, I can get you a 30 at BetMGM.
Man, I don't even know if I could get there anymore. Like, give me a 40 or 50. Dude hasn't won in forever.
You're just not going to get it.
And winning races is hard as shit, especially in the Cup Series on ovals.
And to the Kyle Larson point, his fair market value on Win the Race is double basically what his current price is. So he's not even worth looking at this point.
And until Kyle Larson puts together a Sunday that we kind of expect out of the 5 team, I don't think he's somebody that I want to play in any market right now, as they're kind of in that Hendrick, like, oh, well, whatever. We got our playoff spot and we're just kind of going to lollygag towards regular season championship contention, and then turn it back on once the playoffs start. They've been a completely different team.
Could I interest you in Tyler Reddick at 20?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, I'm such a numbers better, and when I see he's 12 or 14 most places and he's 20 at MGM, I really like that. And he's been fine here, but he hasn't been breathtaking. I don't know. We just have Denny
0 laps led?
Yeah,
in the Gen 7 era here for Reddick. Do we think that all of a sudden, after running 2 consecutive road courses where he's expected to compete up front, they're just automatically going to turn the oval package back into 2024 where 2311 was amongst the fastest? I just don't see it happening for them.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Tyler Reddick can't win. Ty Gibbs can't win. William Byron can't win. Denny can win. Ryan Blaney can win. I don't know. Outside of those 2 guys, I don't feel great about literally anyone else.
And even Ryan Blaney, for what it's worth, he's had quite possibly he's having the Larson year without the wins, without the number of wins, because he's either
Yeah,
finishing really, really good or essentially DNFing every week. So he's really hard to pinpoint. But when he does show up with a rocket, he does have an opportunity to win. And you feel like he can get there, as opposed to somebody like Byron, who it seems inevitable that he's going to give up the lead on pit road or something's going to happen and he's not going to find victory lane.
and ironically, Ross Chastain's the guy I keep wanting to bet, but I'm not betting him at 12. If he unloads really fast and looks like a rocket, and I have to bet 750, I'm doing it, but I'm not betting 12.
Yeah, and I think this was something that kind of came to my mind prior to Sonoma. The announcement of Daniel Suarez not returning to Trackhouse, finally becoming official, made when you go back and you look at the races that led up to the announcement, it makes a lot of performance stats make a little more sense, in that, at some point Trackhouse and maybe even Chevy, depending on where Suarez is like looking to go for next year or what conversations he's having with what teams, there's going to come a point where they start withholding information and data and kicking him out of drivers, like team meetings and all that. We already saw.
Unless he gets in like with a Chevy ride and we know that he's going to be with Chevy, then Chevy will keep that information flowing. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to see a big shakeup of like the bottom third of NASCAR kind of as we go into 2026, which is crazy.
I mean, and we're also still waiting on official like determination on the 2311 and front row charters. I mean, 2311 filed another injunction against NASCAR, like trying to get them to race as a charter team for the remainder of the season. Yet again, another
yeah, and
filing.
Denny was talking about that on Actions Detrimental, which it makes sense because he's like, you can't take away our charter and then sell it to somebody else, and then we don't have a charter to go back to if we win. So in theory, it makes sense, but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Cadillac's trying to get in, and there's a whole bunch of stuff.
That is becoming a much bigger story. It's coming to the forefront more for me when like evaluating the 2311 cars and such like that, because I know they don't really have anything to do with the legal side of things, but it's got to be weighing on them much heavier than what we thought it was for Reddick at the end of last year during the championship race. That was still them like suing. It hadn't gotten to this point yet.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because there's obviously a lot of media are asking questions, and even like they asked Tyler when we were in the scrum with him, and he's like, "No comment. I can't say anything." So, who knows what they know, what they don't know, how much faith they have or excitement they have towards that working out, but it's a wild time. NASCAR wants to keep the good old boys club, and these other teams are trying to push in and become legitimate factors. And it's not like we're talking about, Spire and front row and, like 2311's a brand, a real name brand. It wants to be in the JGR Hendrick group, and it's going to take some serious work. So I am adding Ryan Blaney 850. There's not a lot I love. We talked through a lot of these names. Byron, yes and no. Tyler Reddick, sure, but is he going to win? Ty Gibbs, there's no way in hell. Logano, if we're talking Saturday night and Ryan Blaney is like 450, 5.5, because he looked amazing in practice, which he very much could be. I'm going to be kicking myself for not taking the 850, especially when it's like 7 or shorter everywhere else. Yeah. So I'm jumping on that. Looks like you're going to join me. Beyond that, like I said, I want Ross, but I'm not going to bet 12. I'm not going to bet 14. I would need 18, 20 to get involved, and maybe that's not realistic. But if he's 12 now, I'll wait and to see what he looks like in practice, and I'll bet 7.5 or 8 with him if he looks incredible. And if he goes to 35 because he sucks, I'll be very happy I didn't bet it.
Yeah. Yeah. I outside of Briscoe that I mentioned, I don't think there's really anybody in that like 20 range that is a must bet prior to practice and qualifying. Outside, let me backtrack real quick. I do think that although he's in a similar boat as Kyle Larson at the moment, I do think that Christopher Bell at 12 or longer, I know I've heard like you can get him longer in other places. I do think he's interesting. But again, I think with this tire, I would much rather wait to see how guys look in practice than firing off a bunch of so-called value bets at before seeing who's got what on the new stuff.
I mean, from what I see, he's basically 12 at FanDuel, MGM, Caesars. He's 10 at DraftKings. Like, I can't imagine you're getting much better than 12, maybe 14. Oh, okay. Our friends offshore have an 18.
Like I just said, new tire, be patient.
Well, and he's won 3 times, but like he hasn't really been a contender. Wormy loves to ring the bell every Sunday morning and talk about how Christopher Bell's going to win this, going to win that, and dude isn't winning shit. So I don't know. He's been really strong though, but I don't know. It's so hard when you've like seen him be really good at a road course to like go, well, obviously he's going to be awesome at an oval, and that's not really how it works.
Yeah. By the way, I hate Caesar's new UI since they joined all the accounts and now all your money is the same. They just keep messing with their crap to where you can't find any markets.
I kind of like it, but that's me. All right. Logano versus Hocevar. Hamlin versus Larson, minus 115 on either side. That's kind of fun.
I would much rather play Hamlin for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That seems fun.
The only thing with that though is, would it surprise you if Kyle Larson showed up?
No.
Really good? No. So it's hard to play anybody against him. I don't know. I trust Denny more, especially if we do get tires and tires matter. I would much rather have Denny Hamlin over Kyle Larson.
Yeah. Our friends over at Win the Race say Hamlin's the bet.
I was just gonna say, that said, how often are you trying to fade Larson on an oval?
Almost never.
Yeah, it's just you're playing with fire when you're betting against
I understand the thought there, and it makes a lot of sense, but like you said, if he comes out and rubs it in our face, we're gonna feel like big old dummies. Let's see, is there a better number? Let's just see if DraftKings, what they have. I'll pull that up on another screen. Reddick versus Gibbs. Reddick minus 140. The in-race or in-season tournament, John Hunter over Ty Dillon. Should we just take Ty Dillon at plus money?
I was just going to say, I feel like you got to bet Ty Dillon now just for the hell of it, simply because the dude he's a god in this in-season tournament, and you know what he's willing to do to win these things. And so I would not doubt me whatsoever if, say, we're coming down to the last few laps, and not that Ty Dillon is going to turn John Hunter Nemechek on an oval, but he's definitely going to squeeze him. Like, he's going to squeeze him down, or he's going to ride him high and make him, run the wall here at the Monster Mile in order for him to pass him. So that is something else that I think has been really fun these last few races that has helped a lot of other people get through the fact that there's been so many road courses, is that the in-season tournament matters to a few of these guys, especially a guy like Ty Dillon, who is doing what he needs to try to advance. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's giving shine to the guys that don't normally get camera time.
Yeah, and it gives them something to race for and all that kind of good stuff. Let's look at some manufacturer props, see if there's anything interesting popping out. Blaney, Logano, Busher. I don't know. Feels like Blaney's priced accordingly.
I think every week, I feel like the Ford market is probably the most bettable of all the manufacturers because they always have one guy priced way shorter than everybody else, and it opens up value on the rest of them.
I think I'm going to add Ross Chastain top Chevy. 6-1 we top Chevy versus 12-1 to win the race.
I would rather play Chase Elliott in this market at plus 550. Because Chase, okay, I talked about it when we were talking about the odds. Like, this is Chase Elliott's track type, concrete. This is where he excels the most outside of his previous road course prowess. And obviously Atlanta now, he's really good there. But concrete tracks are Chase Elliott's thing. It always have been. I know he let us down a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but Dover in particular is where he's really good. And he's top 5 in 2 of the last 3 trips here. So you're not going to get a top 5 or top 3 number at this price on Elliott, I don't think. So I would much rather play him top Chevy, knowing that it's basically Ross. Well, knowing that it's his HMS teammates. And I mean, yeah, can I see them finishing 6th and 7th behind Chase? Sure. With say Blaney and then like 4 Toyotas or 3 Toyotas, Blaney, and then Elliott finishing 5th. It's definitely a possibility.
And he's been so good just in general this season. Pulling up his numbers. At Dover, 5th, 11th, 1st, 3rd, 39th, 5th, 38th, 5th, 1st. Like, he's had so many top
5th
5
last year after starting 29th.
Yeah. Like, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of his last 14 trips he's been in the top 5. This is why we do this, Brian. We talk through it.
Last year, that was also when the 9 was kind of like, he was not considered a race winning contender, which kind of was the same at the beginning of this year. Whereas over the last 6 weeks or so, they've really seemed to have put the pedal to the metal and kind of been 1B maybe to Byron.
Yeah, and then just talking through like his results in general, like obviously he has the win at Atlanta, but he was 3rd at Sonoma, he was 5th at Pocono, he was 3rd at Mexico City, he was 6th at Charlotte, he was 5th at Dega, he was 8th at Darlington, he was 4th at Martinsville. Like, he's just been awesome. He has, we jokingly gave him the moniker "Average Ass Chase Elliott."
Maybe he's turned into awesome ass Chase
but
Elliott.
He's not like race winning ass Chase Elliott outside of a super speedway. And so, like, when expectations are here and he's here, we give him a little bit of a hard time, but he's actually been like pretty good. He's just, he's not worth betting at 8-1 to win the race because he's likely not going to win. But if you get a good number, and I think to your point, a 550, a 6 to be top Chevy, I mean, honestly, why not take both of them and look to cash one of them?
Well, exactly how I explained it happened in Pocono. Briscoe, Denny, Blaney, Busher, and then Chase Elliott finished 5th, with then Kyle Larson being the next best Chevy in 7th. Can I see a similar result happening this weekend in Dover? You bet your ass.
Yeah.
So I would much rather have plus 550 in my pocket, in addition to probably trying to play him on a top 5 if I could get the correct price.
Let's see what we can get.
I'm going to do now. And of course, this is definitely nerfing Chase Elliott for the weekend with the role that I've been on. So yeah, see, Caesars doesn't even have like finishing results.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is cooked. I know 365 has it. 365 has top 5 at plus 160, which I don't hate.
Right, but you could get 4th or 5th or 6-1 or 550.
Well, yeah, no. I'm not saying just play top 5. What I'm saying is you got to play the top Chevy market, but then also maybe add a little sprinkle on the top 5, which helps protect you against, say, a Larson or a Byron potentially being a race-winning car.
Yeah. 365 has them at 4-1 for a top Chevy.
All right, yeah. So we're gonna play this Elliott price here.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with my gut. I like your reasoning, and I'm actually gonna play that too. But Ross Chastain is 7 at Rivers to be top Chevy, so I am gonna be betting that.
Disgusting.
I know. Well, I told you I wanted him.
Yeah, that's a
on my
much better
card,
price than an outright for sure.
and I wasn't gonna bet the outright. So let's see, Rivers 7. Yeah, I'm gently wading into the waters. I'm not gonna cannonball off the top balcony this week.
Oops.
Can I do this? There it is. Blaney, Ross, Denny, top, 27-1.
Okay.
That's fun.
So here's my thing on these manufacturer parlays. I don't see enough people on socials or say even in the Discord who are posting these things also piggybacking with all 3 of these guys on an outright. Because if you're picking all 3 of these guys to finish the top in their manufacturer, one of them is winning. One of these 3 dudes is winning the race.
I understand your thought process, but these are shooting for the moon bets.
Not when
They're
you're
not.
picking the favorites. You got Denny and Blaney. Like, if you play this and you don't have some exposure to say Denny and Blaney on an outright, I feel like that's a mistake.
Well, but you're not going to bet. Like, I'd rather bet Denny to top Toyota. Well, I don't know.
You
It's
get
just like
5x the price.
I'm not betting 450 or 5-1 before I see cars on tracks. So I'm not going to bet Denny, but I might bet him post.
So look, I'm not trying to put like water on fire here, but I
It's
just
one
think it's like the correlation is that if one of these guys has to win the race essentially in these parlays. Because you can't have all 3 top manufacturers and none of them win. That's an impossibility. There's only 3 manufacturers.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
one
true.
of these guys is winning.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney. I just put him on the card. Everybody knows
Okay,
that.
there you go. Okay, so you got covered on one. That's fine.
Yeah. It's also Open Championship week, but I don't really love anyone so much that I want to parlay Denny with them to. I don't know. Maybe I could figure out a way to parlay Denny because I do think Denny is going to be awesome. But I'll wait.
How many times have we seen the best car get smoked?
Almost every time. Almost every time. The only time
You couldn't tell.
the only
I'm a
time the
little
best
bitter
cars
this
win
season.
is when SVG is on a road course. And you
Man,
could
yeah,
argue that he's not even the best car.
I'm in a mood from the last like few months.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to look at, Grumpy Twining?
I do think as we head back to ovals, like I do think that matchups are going to be. I take never mind. Delete everything I just was about to say. Yeah, my brain is in like a complete mush from what we've been seeing in terms of like betting these things because of rando late race cautions not being thrown when they should be. Um, yeah, this has been a difficult year for your boy, that's for sure.
I mean, you were crushing for a while, and ultimately, I think you'll be fine. But I get where the frustration comes from because we are on the right thing. It looks like it should be the right thing. The car is in the position to win the bet, and it doesn't win the bet. So, let us know down in the comments who's standing out to you. What bets make the most sense? As my dog lets himself in, signaling the end of the podcast. I'm guessing. Brian Twining. Let's take a look at the card as it sits right now, and we can work through some thoughts. I can minimize. Oh, I get this. Nope, not that. Wow. Okay. As it sits, Ryan Blaney 850 to win, and Ross to top Chevy at 7 are my two picks. Brian is also on Blaney, so probably can't win. And then he's on Elliott top Chevy, so Larson's going to win the race and win the top Chevy market because that's where we're at. Let us know down in the comments who is interesting to you, who stands out, who do you think can tackle the monster mile this week and take down the cement world of Dover. We will be back in your feed on Sunday morning. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things. Go check out the newsletter. Go check out our friends Grid Rival. AOP 25 gets you $100 match deposit up to $100. Go check out Win the Race for $30 a month for the rest of the season. Incredible deal, fat discount. Discord is popping. Thoughts in there. All kinds of other things. That is Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let us know who's interesting to you. And we'll talk to you next time.